3,284.
That's insane. It's fucking insane.
Ooh, damn, long way, long way. And we're still growing too. Still
Just
growing.
like your stonker, mate. Just growing every week.
Fucking rock hard on the weekend. G'day. This is the Two Beards Wrexham podcast, your go-to for all things Wrexham AFC. Join us as we chat about the highs and lows of our favourite footy club. She'll be right, mate. G'day, beard brethren, Sheilas, fuckheads, and just all-round legends. Welcome to another week of, you know it, the Two Beards Wrexham podcast. I'm your host, Rousey. That is my co-host over there, Adrian, mate, the old ginger ninja. He's got the beard looking great.
It's a bit all over the shop, mate.
What a weekend, hey? What a weekend.
It was good football, mate. I mean, look, a draw is a draw, and we can all. You're going to either say it's points dropped or it's points gained. I don't give a fuck. We just took it to a goalless, so clean sheet, away from home against a 30,000 crowd, something
Yep.
around that line, and
26,000.
Jesus, like we
Yeah.
haven't played in front of that in. Someone said we haven't played like that in a league match in like 20 years. So big point about this is it's a huge step for us, not just as an outfit going for promotion, but as a huge gallop for the club. Like it's fucking massive. Can you believe we're playing against the likes of Bolton? Like, I'm still in a bit of disbelief, mate. So I'm just stoked that we got to go out there. It seemed like it was a great day out for a lot of fans, and especially for our mate James McLean.
Oh yes, yes, yes. So we'll get on to that in our main segment when we're actually talking about it. But we do have a guest on today. Another guest, a second week in a row. Holy shit. But I just got to say the response we had on our last episode with Neil Roberts on was huge. It was just massive. And I can't thank everyone enough. And hello to all the new subscribers that have come on board and people that are listening to us for the first time. Yes, we are Aussie, but we love Wrexham. We love football and we bleed red, don't we? We
Yeah.
love. Well, we actually do. If you do cut us, we do bleed red. But
Yeah, I mean, funny that I'm pretty sure most people do, but like, no, it's good though. It's good. But hey, look, big week ahead for all of us. You did some incredible things during the week as well. Did you want to speak on something that you were asked to do as representing Two Beards?
oh yes, yes. So I wrote a column for Music Sport WXM. Um, which is great. The guys obviously over there they liked our interview with Neil and thought they'd give us a listen and then realized, oh shit, they like our podcast. So they asked me to write about Wrexham from an Aussie's perspective and stay tuned for that one when that one comes out. We'll link the article when it goes live
It's
and
a very good article. I've had a sneak peek and I've been able to read it through, and I've never been prouder of him, and I give him shit all the time. But this was one of those occasions where I was like, I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not trying to like blow smoke up your ass. Like it was a very good article, and it really represents hopefully what a lot of international fans kind of go through. So really good article. But also what I was hoping for was, because it was also music related as well, I was hoping they'd ask you to do a song, Rouse. So is that on the cards from them? Like, have they asked
fuck
you,
no.
do you want
Your song's coming along nice. I'm still waiting for approvals on certain clips that I can use, but
Hey, I'm
it's
more
coming along
thinking you
really
need to get
nice.
on board, mate. I think
I ain't
we
singing
all want to
that.
see a Rousey I don't know. Should we go with an opera, like something very nice like that, or
But look, I don't mind a bit of smoke up the clacker, but I mean, my gosh, I tell you what, I cannot sing to save my life, so let's not go there with that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get some housekeeping out of the way and bring our guest on.
Yes.
Gonna be easy sitting there waiting for us patiently. So we'll bring
We
him on.
we won't keep him.
Um, housekeeping. Housekeeping. Uh,
Housekeeping.
No, it's the old sock on the door. Did you ever do that when you were a kid?
What,
Teenager?
sock on the door?
Sock on the door when you didn't want to be disturbed?
I mean, not with like my parents, unless like, that'd be fucking weird. They're like, oh, he's whacking it. Oh, he's like that'd just be fucking weird. No, no, I didn't do that. No, no, none of that.
Oh,
Anyways,
God.
some people we want to thank our fuckheads. Is that right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. We have a fuckhead program. It's our fans only program. It's those fans that want to do the extra little bit to support us, help support the podcast, and also is helping us get to Wrexham in November 2025, where there'll be some good fun and shenanigans and live shows at Vault 33 in
Yeah.
Wrexham. So,
It's
holy
gonna be
shit.
crazy, mate. It's gonna be
Gonna be
fucking mental.
crazy. So we've got a lot of people put their hand up since we came out of that news. It's saying, "Hey, we're going to help." So I think it's going to be an excellent live show when it comes to it. But um, in the meantime, we do have to thank our fuckheads. So guys, if you do want to become a part of this, you want to have your name read out every single week on our podcast and thanked every single week because we just fucking love you. Or you want to get discount off our merch. You want to have access to some exclusive giveaways.
That
And
Discord is getting real chattery lately. It's
ooh, yes.
very nice. It's good, but it's hard to keep up with the time zones. I don't know about you, but I wake up and I'm like, oh fuck, something happened because there's 400 messages like talking about the UFC, and then I'm like, oh, that happened in Perth. What's going on?
I didn't even know that was in Perth. But anyway, see, I'm just so focused on football that I don't give a shit about UFC. But
No, no.
anyway,
But it's a good segue, mate, because we've got some lovely people that we do give a shit about, and that
we
is
do.
our fuckheads, and that is some incredible people that we have for our ultra fuckhead program, which they pay the premium price point to help us get over to Wrexham. David, love you, mate. Bryant, love you too. Welsh Checky, love you. Anthony, love you. Jake, love you. Sarah, love you. You are doing the Lord's work. We really appreciate you not only just being such avid speakers in the Discord, but also just speakers of this podcast. People, you've recommended it to your mates. You're a big part of this, as well as the rest of our fuckheads who, are beautiful people. So Neb, Wigan fan, good to have him along. He's having a pretty shit one the last couple of weeks because of his mob, but hopefully they can pick up. Drew, Mark, Deandra, Anthony R, John, Chris, Will, Andy, Aaron, Ryan, Chris, Rousey, me. How are you?
Nailed
Mate,
it.
nailed it. But but I want to just put it out there as well. Bryant's actually, well, it's been floated many a time when it happens. And I know there's going to be people who are going to go over there with us, like Mark, like a couple of other fuckheads as well. But Bryant put out there that we should make it like the fuckhead convention. So when we go into town, everyone can just border up the doors and just be like, right, we don't want these fuckers in. And then, we can just really go out and with a bang would be nice.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was awesome. That was well done, Adrian. You do it well every single week, mate. You nail that, and you nailed that this week. So we
Thank
didn't
you.
forget anyone.
No, not this week.
And it was we will move on to our guests. Oh, by the way, guys, links will be in the description down below for our fans only fuckheads program. There's a link tree, and there'll also be a separate link for our Patreon as well, so which is for that. So get on it. $5 a month. That's all it'll cost you. And if you do want some merch,
Oh,
twobeardsmedia.com/shop. There you go.
just a walking advertisement, Rousey. Bloody hell. It's
I
good
know
though. It's
I got
good.
the hoodie, I got the drink. I'm two beards, mate. I'm fucking two
Mate, I just
beards.
walk around with being bald and having a beard. That's how I represent the two beards. I don't even need to wear any merch. I'm just like, yeah, right. I'm bald. I've got the beard.
I've never
It'll do
seen
it.
you wear your hoodie.
Hey,
I've never seen you wear your hoodie.
I wear it all the time, but it's because it's grey. So I bought it because I wanted like that sweat shirt material grey that, a lot of people wear, very like 90s tracksuit. Anyways, it's the best material because it's almost like a heather kind of color. Anyways, I wear it, but when I wear it here, especially where my mic sits, it blocks the logo. So it just looks like I'm wearing a grey sweater, like I'm about to deal with ketamine or something on the street, like, just dealing out drugs. Like, so I tend not to wear the grey one, but definitely the red one looks good on you, mate. It looks good.
Oh, the red one's my favorite. Anyway, let's get on to our guest. Guys, this week, we're spreading the podcast love. We love everybody, every content creator that wants to bring eyes to Wrexham. We'll get behind and we'll support. Use
Vice
us,
versa.
abuse us, do what you want to us. We will still love you and we'll still support you. So this week we've got one of the other members of Fearless in Devotion. I think this guy's like the main guy of Fearless in Devotion. We will ask that question of him.
What is this, like NSYNC? Like, which one's the main member of the boy band? Like, which one is it? Is Andy JT? Is that what's happening?
So, guys, Andy Gilpin joins us after the break. Be sure to stick around. We've got some good content coming up. So let's welcome Andy Gilpin from none other than Fearless in Devotion. Let's go. See you after the break. Woo! Well, listeners, subscribers, or should I say beard brethren, Sheilas, fuckheads, and just all-round legends, we have Fearless in Devotion's Andy Gilpin. Now, if you haven't paid attention to everything that we've been speaking about or don't know what's going on X, Fearless in Devotion, these guys are like the main people for Wrexham. They love to get the news out first on there. Mate, I listen to them every single week, try and get their insight so we can steal some content and put on a show. We've had Tim on the show before, and now we have the main man himself, Andy Gilpin. Mate, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, you say that to all the Wrexham-based podcasts, don't you? Yeah, you're the main man. Thanks very much, mate. Oh, what an intro. I'm all right. As I was saying to you guys before, I've had a heavy weekend. I'm not going to lie. Bolton hit me hard. It was. I got up the night before. I've got a few Bolton supporting pals, so we were always targeting this game. But you just sort of think, I'm never going to get to play Bolton. I'm never going to go to a game with my mate Joey and his brother Adam. And all of a sudden, we're in League One, and it feels like we're actually in League One now. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, we got promoted in April, but now it feels like we're a League One team. And I think to go away and have a performance like that really nails down where we are at the moment. I was absolutely made up with the weekend, but as I said, a couple of late nights, and I'm a little bit flaky today. Also wearing my new Wrexham top, which
looks good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got a conundrum now because I've worn it twice. We haven't lost. How long can I wear it before it needs washing?
Yes.
It's not on the turn at the moment. It's not on the turn at the moment, but I reckon another match, and I'm in a quandary there. Also, have you guys got this one? It's like a weird thing on the top. It's like, I don't know. It's like
it's the shoulders.
It's made for shoulder. You know those 80s shoulder blades?
Yeah,
the shoulder pads.
Yeah, it's like shoulder pads. It's like, I know we're American owned now, but do we all have to look like a Dynasty character?
Yeah, exactly. Literally, like I was saying to Rousey, just when you came onto the screen, the first thing I said was, "Shit, I want the black kit now," because I've got the gold kit, and I was like, I'm made up. Last year I bought too many kits. I need to calm down. I'm just going to stick to the one. Got the gold, arrived, and I was like, this is great. Then the black kit looks good. And I have heard the thing about the shoulder pads, and I'm just like, that's only thing. But even then, I'm like, what is it? It doesn't matter if you feel uncomfortable as long as you look, you like the look of it. Like, it's a good shirt to wear. But the sizes are different this year as well. Hey, like this is a large, I think, and this is like skin tight on me. And then I got an XL of the gold, and it's like the baggiest shirt I own. It's crazy.
No, and I think it goes from kit to kit as well. So this is a medium. It's like
Yep.
really tight on here, which is, could be just be because of my rippling muscles, but
Yeah.
it's slightly more a design thing. So yeah, and so because it's so tight there, that is what's bunching up the top of the shirt, I think. So yeah, they're all just that little bit different, and it's hard to really sort of work out what you're going to do sizing wise. But yeah, this is a medium, and it's pretty snug in places.
Maybe they designed it that way so when our boys are running down the field, the arms they go up into tank tops. We got the
shit.
Go mend the arms, and then they're sort of right backs looking at him, going, I don't want to deal with this fella.
No.
You just go past me, mate. Go on.
Well, it's like I every time I see like, and this is the love affair with James McLean for a moment, but like just seeing James McLean in any new shirt, I'm like, how does he look ripped and buff in every? I mean, he is ripped and buff. That is how he is. But like the black shirt on him, his rippling muscles are sticking out there. I'm like, I don't want to mess with him. And like, the Bolton fans wanted to mess with him on the weekend.
He was getting
they wanted to mess with him when they were in the stand and nowhere near him. But if he was like standing over him, the thing is, when we're clean, he's an absolute animal. Apparently, he's like absolutely aced all the bleep tests this preseason.
Wow.
Now, the thing is with him, a lot of you think about what a pastime of a footballer is. You've got a lot of downtime. Maybe you go for a drink or something like that. Well, McLean, all he wants to do is after he's finished training, is go into his shed and pound his punch bag for a couple of hours. His wife says that's what really calms him down. I know that came across in the documentary, but just imagine that when you've done your training and then you're going to do extra training on top of it. That is why the guy's a machine, an absolute machine. And yeah, good luck to any of the Bolton fans who actually wanted to fight him.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. I was like, I'm sitting there listening to like every single, like he comes out of the walkway and he's getting booed. As soon as he gets the ball, he's getting booed. I'm sitting there thinking, keep booing him because that's what he
thrives
lives
off that shit.
He thrives off that shit. You're literally helping him by booing. So
yeah,
like, did they not get that? Did they not understand that that's what they're doing?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's been a revelation for me because when he came in, I was looking at a 35-year-old. Obviously, he'd done quite well in the championship, but I'm looking to a guy coming to the end of his career, and I'm also thinking, where does he fit into our system? Because the natural place maybe is left wing back, but how many times has he played left wing back? He's more of a left midfielder, maybe a bit further forward, and it's hard for a player of that age to learn that position and know when you need to come back. And at that time he was covering Max, that's two quite inexperienced players playing that sort of left-hand side. And I think it did take a bit of time for them to get together. But just that central three now is just so much stronger that I think it's given the wing backs a little bit more license to go forward and know that they will be covered. And even if one of the three is out of position, then you've got Dobson there to sort of direct things as well. It's a good little central unit that now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and sadly though, it looks like maybe Evans might be just sort of pushed to the bench now, like because we got to see actually the team sheet with McLean and Revan on the same sheet, which was interesting. I know we're still yet to have Paul Mullen come back, but what a strong bloody side. And I got to say, leading up to the Rex Coast tour, and then seeing the form that the guys had in their preseason against your Bournemouth and Chelsea, and the fact that we're able to hold them to a draw, and then sure enough, we start the season with a good win, couple little shaky things which you can forgive because it's the start of the season, but then we come to Bolton and we hold them to a 0-0 draw at their home, which it shocked me the most, like a shitload, because fucking you just don't do that to Bolton at their home. They got one of the best home records in the league, and we held them to a draw. I mean that must have completely just twisted your mind.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the Evans question first. I think Evans. I'm going to take them one by one. There's a lot there. Right?
Go on.
I think Evans. I always sort of naturally thought you might end up as a centre half. I did wonder about has he got the reaction time to really make the midfield work? Well, what Dobson has, and it has been different class since he's come in. So that didn't really surprise me that maybe he's dropped out a little bit at the beginning, but there will be time for him because it's a squad game. They'll need him. Look, I sort of said this earlier, but it just yesterday was our arrival in League One. It's fair enough beating Wycombe at home when you're on the front foot, you've got most of the possession and you're really trying to go at them. But when you're at Bolton and you know you're going to have to defend for large swathes of the game, you've got to do it. You've got to be drilled. You've got to be organised. And I think I've just written something for the newsletter this week. So I think I was talking about how the team adapt. So in League Two, I think it was a much quicker league than we were used to, and it took us a while for us to adapt. Now, I think in the second, what you're getting in League One is you're getting still a very, very quick league with almost quicker players, but it's their reaction time. It's what's upstairs that has taken on the next level. So Bolton, when they were really on top for the first 20 minutes, you could see that their players knew where the ball was going to drop. They knew what they had to do with it when they got there. And we were chasing shadows a little bit. And when we did get the ball, we gave it away because we didn't have that same sort of razor short sort of thought process that they did. But we can learn that. And a lot of those players have played League One and higher. And it's a case that they haven't played it as a unit together. So the longer it goes on, the more they will get drilled into that. And that's why it's such an encouraging start. Can I also say that when I've done like Ebbsfleet or Eastleigh or something like that, I've got to call it the Reebok then. What's it called? The Tough Sheet Stadium.
The Tough Shit.
Yeah.
As McLean calls it.
Yeah. That is different class. That's what you're thinking about when you're going to those sort of grounds, that you miss that sort of whole occasion where, you know, it's a proper ground. You see it for miles. You know that your seat is going to give you a great look at the pitch. The pitch is fantastic. The crowd is there. We're going at each other. There's good bands. Those are the occasions that, you know, as I say, you know, earlier I said it feels like we've arrived in League One as a team, but we've arrived there as fans and a fan base as well. And now we can sort of savor these moments.
That's a good way to word it. Like, savor the moment is the big one. I think a lot of people, and you know, I'm really proud of, like, I mean, I know we're technically part of this new contingent, but I'm also loving definitely out of that new contingent of people who are, you know, I feel like people of not being as bullish. We're understanding where we are. We're really understanding the occasion. I mean, we have a little Discord with people from America and from the UK, Canada, everywhere. And it's just one of those things where you see, I don't know, a shift. And I know that people are now getting into their fourth season following the club, and they're going, oh my God, this is amazing. And even myself, we talk about it every week on the show, and I've said it to death, but here in Australia, you couldn't get any of these Premier League games, like the higher tier stuff, unless it was your Liverpools, your Man U's, your Arsenals, that sort of shit. You'd get the highlight show, and I'm talking the teams were Bolton, Wigan. You know, we're looking at these, you know, Birmingham. We're looking at all these clubs that you go, wow, that's crazy. And now we're getting this full realization that Wrexham have gone from playing, you know, Torquay to playing Bolton at the Reebok. And it's like, what does it feel like for you as a long-term fan? You mentioned that it is about appreciating those moments. How do you keep the level head? Is it because of, you know, the turmoil of the probably previous decade, or is it more about just going with week by week?
Just going what I meant by you are. I mean, what I meant by you are is you guys are part of this.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I don't mean that you knew. What I mean is you guys everywhere around the world.
Yeah, we go.
Yeah. I'm completely in on this. This is yours as much as it is mine. And the fact that you guys do this down in Australia is something that we still love. we can't get our heads around that there's that much influence, interest around the country, but around the world. But the fact that you guys do this is just, I mean, I often say this, a phrase that I've spent 35 years of my life trying to get people into Wrexham, and no one gave a shit. Like my mates who are all Everton fans, I used to get them to a game and you think, oh, well, that was 4-3. Do you really enjoy that? You're going to come next week? Nah, I'm not that bothered. I was quite good, but they won't be like that, will they? Well, no, they won't be. But, the bug didn't get them. Yeah. And now the bug has got them. And it took Ryan and Rob, it took a documentary, it took an influence of cash, but we've got there. And the fact that you guys are promoting us in the way that you do and really getting into it I'm so chuffed, and I think speak for the fan base. So we're just so pleased that you're on board with this. Now, coming back to the second point, I think the whole fan base has become a hell of a lot more knowledgeable over the last couple of seasons. I think it's because you guys are getting to watch full matches now. You're also understanding that as we go up in leagues, it's not all going to be plain sailing. We can't steamroll the teams anymore. We have to be canny with it. We have to celebrate the 0-0 draws at Bolton and not say, oh, couldn't we have won it at the end? Doesn't matter. They could have won it 3 times at the end as well. That's where we are. And I think the whole sort of fan base, certainly the ones who came in at the entry level, like you guys, are a lot more knowing about what actually is good, a good result for us, or just a good performance. And I think that's important. And I think in many ways the expectation has dropped down a little bit, and you can enjoy an away draw and not lament that it wasn't a win. Now, for me personally, you touched on the fact that we've been through a lot of crap, and I'm not. I'm so pleased we're here, but I can't overreact to it. And I think there was a Men in Blazers interview I did on last weekend where they did me a bit dirty in the edit. I'm not gonna lie about that. But basically, it was Rog trying to get an emotion out of me, and I can't give you that emotion on tap. I can't. Yeah.
That was you at the Hill Street Social with the chip buddies.
Yeah. And he wanted to sort of like the pure emotion of the league. Well, I can't give you that because I'm just too in tune that something could go wrong or something. Maybe if we get to the championship, and that's not something I've ever done in my lifetime, then maybe I would be a little bit more giddy with anticipation. But at the moment, there's still a job to be done. There's still we've got a chance of this. We can't sort of just wander around going, "Isn't it brilliant? Yay!" No, let's be a little critical of it. Let's sort of say that there's a real chance that we could go up, if not this season, but the season after. And so you've got to have a bit of temperance with it, and you've got to really celebrate when we've done well, like yesterday, but be a little bit sort of critical about when we could do a little bit better, because that's what will get us out of this league.
Were you surprised that Okonkwo got man of the match?
Little, yeah, but he did make 2 blinding saves. I mean, the one in the second half was fantastic, because even though it's the right height for him, and it was right, I was right in the middle, and I could see it just coming. It's the fact that he sort of launched himself so far to the side and had such a strong hand to it as well. It wasn't like a crisp glove or anything. That was a strong one, and the one from the free kick as well was pretty good. I personally thought O'Connell did great. I thought he was a shout for the man of the match. I think Max just does everything with effortless ease now. But if you think of that top 3 that Bolton had, that is an expensive top 3. That's the player that we wanted but couldn't get. It's
McAtee,
Aaron Collins,
right? Yeah.
McAtee, Aaron Collins, who cost a lot from Bristol Rovers, who again we were linked with. Dion Charles is one of the stars of this league, and I'm not saying we made them look ordinary. I mean, you could tell the movement was there and everything, but we handled them. We handled them quite well as a unit, and we saw most of them off, and they had to bring on another 3 top strikers. So, that's a showing of really where we are. And there are little things that we can do to adapt a little bit more and get even better in this league. And I think it's interesting that we've got Reading on Saturday. I mean, it's a different test again. It's like it's a club. It's a big club on its downers, but it's just been taken over. It will get better, and that's another sort of different test to what we've got, because at home we've got to go at people a lot more than we do.
Well, with Reading on the weekend coming up, I mean, that's going to be. I mean, they've put in some decent performances so far, but they haven't had a real test yet. So I think this will be their first real test.
I actually do you mind if I interject for a moment? I've been burning to ask this question. I'm worried we'll move on to the different segment, but so can you explain to not just us, but the like international fans? You explained that you've wanted to go to the football with your mates. That isn't the case though, right? You can't, obviously, it's an away day. It's completely different to going to football here in Australia. You can't sit side by side with your mate. It is an away end for away fans only, things like that. Can you kind of go into what your match day was like with your mates? Like, what does it look like?
To reflect the match day, you have to go to the night before. So my mate Joey Feisel's from Bolton. He lives in Watford at the moment, which is near me. I'm down West London. So yeah, we met him. He drove us up because he wanted to take us on a tour of Bolton and had been wanting to do it for the last few years. So we went, where would any self-respecting Wrexham and Bolton fan head first in town? We went to Wetherspoons, which is a famous pub chain around here where you get really cheap and cheerful drinks. Yeah, we had something to eat. We went to a sort of home sort of town suburb called Bradshaw, which is a nice little town. It's a nice little sort of suburb of Bolton. Some really nice bars. Then we did karaoke till about 3 a.m., maybe 4 a.m. in the centre of Bolton, and sort of trudged home. Chris and Joey says they can't remember going home, but yeah, I can. Joey did "Hello" by Lionel Richie, which you were really supposed to elongate the "hello." Yeah. And he was just there, "Hello," like he was
hello.
I was like, it's not really working.
Can you imagine the Aussie? Can you imagine the old Aussie version of that? It'd be like, "G'day."
G'day.
Yeah.
Am I the geezer you're looking for?
G'day.
Yeah.
So that and so what I mean by that is that was a tough night, and we didn't sort of service until about 11:30, 12 the next morning, and it was a tough start. I had to sort of down two siders to sort of get myself back on an even keel as soon as I got up. But yeah, so we went and picked Joey's brother up. We went to the ground. By the time we got there, we couldn't really have a pint together, but we were thinking about doing that. And then those guys go off to the home end. We went to the away end, and even the away end's a slightly different sort of experience now, because it's hard to buy 5 or 6 tickets together. I know there's the unwritten rule that you sit where you want, but when you've got 3,800 people there, or however many we had, it's hard to break up a family or something like that. I mean, I was looking about 5 minutes past 3, and there was a family of 4 came down, and they were a little bit late. They were probably caught in the traffic, but I was thinking, where are these guys going to sit? You can't sort of split up young kids and things like that. So it becomes a little bit different experience, even the away end, when it's packed like that. I managed to sit next to my mate Chris. We had some really good seats, and I could see my other mates dotted around, and it would be perfect if we could have just got 2 rows next to each other and enjoyed the game together, but you can't. What it does mean though is I was talking to the fellow next to me and things like that, someone I'd never met before in my life, and you always have that shared lexicon of the game and what it means and where you are and who's played well and who doesn't. So it's just easy to make friends, and we tried to see Joey and Adam in their side, but couldn't quite make them out in what was a huge crowd. I think that's the biggest league attendance I've ever watched Wrexham.
26,000. I think they were saying on the stream down here, they were saying it's Bolton's biggest game attendance since they fell out of the Premier League.
Which is crazy.
Which is nuts. Absolutely nuts.
I know it's the first home game of the season, and I know they've got a lot of expectation around this team and what it can do, but we did sort of sing to them a few times. Good banter between the crowd.
Yeah, that atmosphere. I mean,
electric.
It really, really did come across, even on the boring TV coverage with the drab commentator that I hate. Not the I follow one. The actual. Yeah.
He will listen to. He watched the beIN, mate. Honestly, I'd rather sit on a cactus than watch anything through beIN Sport. I hate. I don't. Do you guys get beIN Sport over there? It's
an Aussie thing. That one. It's
terrible fucking coverage. Anyways,
do you not borrow the main commentator though? Because I know obviously Mark does it for I follow. He's got Andy Morel with him, which I mean I'm all for that. I think I know a lot of you guys got into the game through Mark. But I think pairing him with Andy Morel is a smart move because
real good move.
Yeah, I do like it. I think it's pretty good, and I probably should have paid for the iFollow version instead of listening to the TV version. But what came across was the crowd, and I got to say, I think it's only probably one time I've heard it like that, and that was Coventry away.
Yeah.
I dare say that probably may have even topped it because it was going backwards and forwards. I mean, that must have been something else to be sitting there experiencing that.
Yeah, and it makes a difference when the home end's packed because Coventry it wasn't. There was like large swathes of the stand that weren't weren't sort of occupied. So to have that full sort of 26,000 there, we had the little section near us who was sort of the home fans. That's how they sort of congregate now, and we do it a lot as well. That you want to get as close to the away fans as well to give them a bit. And it's all good natured, but they're sort of singers, and the people who start in their chants would be quite close to us on the right hand side, and we were going back and two on it. I'd say we outsung Bolton. We had a good few football in a library, which isn't my favourite chant, but it serves a purpose. And the best ones are the more the off the cuff ones, like we did Bus Stop in Wigan, which is an old favourite, and then they claimed for a handball, and then we spent 5 minutes saying everything was handball, including throw-ins, every time the keeper caught it or anything like that, and that's just a bit of off the cuff sort of banter. Can I just say a shout out to the drummer as well? I think Manny the drummer is his name. I mean, he must be absolutely knackered by the end of that because the fella did not stop drumming, and at the key moments he was even drumming faster. And I was thinking, Christ Almighty! So yeah, it all just led to a brilliant atmosphere, which I wish I could have been a little bit more full on with, but I was still struggling from the night before.
That's what I'm worried about when we head over. Like, we're basically we've locked it in, and we're going in November 2025. So next season, whether wherever season we're in, we're going over. But that's my biggest fear is like, because everyone's like, oh, we're gonna have a big night, and I'm like, I'm really scared that we're not gonna make it to one of the games, or like, but because of having such a big night before, or even the horrid thing of, and I see it on Twitter or X or whatever it's called nowadays, all the time where it's like, 2 tickets to Bolton, anyone going for them, 2 tickets to wherever. And I'm like, shit, we're going to be in that. And the only difference is we're going to be a bit more panicked because we can't just go back the week after. Oh shit, we're kind of in a stuck. So I think the cool thing is, I think with the international memberships, that we get some sort of allocation, at least at the Kairos. So we'll be okay for a home game if there is one. Hopefully,
you'll be okay for an away game because I mean Wrexham's still it's there's a lot of new fans, but it's still a community who want to help people out. So they will not, if you're coming all that way, we will not let you go without a ticket for whatever we're doing. So yeah, don't worry about that.
Okay, but yeah, I'm just nervous because so many people are like, oh, we're going to show you this bar and this bar and this bar. And I'm like, this is great, but it also just doesn't account for the fact that we're going to have to get up at whatever time to get to the game. I mean, it shouldn't be so bad for a local one, but we want to go to an away game where the whole idea is we do one home, one away. That's what we want to do. And I'm just like, shit, we're going to miss some bus. I just know it.
Don't worry. There's always a way. There's always a way. And at the end of the day, lads, I mean, how drunk are you going to get? It's 3 p.m.
It's Australia. It'll be midnight in Australia. That's the problem.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
It's good though.
That I feel that statement's going to come back to haunt me. How drunk are you going to get?
And it's going to be 3 p.m. and me being like, "Oh no, he can come in. He's all right. He's all right. He only threw up a couple times. Just let him in. He's all right." Like,
I'll give you an example, Andy. The other weekend, I went with one of our fans group that we've got. We went out to a pub, and the lady behind the microphone said, "We've got any Everton fans here?" And I was that drunk. I'm just like, "Fuck Everton!" Just like it's louder.
That famous Wrexham Everton rivalry you're getting on board with.
It's it's kind of the best thing about like this little, like when I say little Wrexham movement, the huge Wrexham movement, but like you've got that where, you know, you've got people congregating in a bar in Perth. You got me in Adelaide. I went to Time Zone, which is like a arcade, like, you know, games and stuff. And it was a kid there with a away Wrexham strip from last season, the white one. And nice. I'm like, I've got him, but that's because I love this club and I do what but to see just a kid he's got it on, he's wearing it around, his mates are wearing Chelsea and Man U kits and everything, and he's wearing a Wrexham kit. Like we talk about the movement happening in Wrexham because the kids now, you know, are Wrexham fans. They're not just going to Liverpool games and going to Everton games. They're going to Wrexham games. That's their club. Whereas here, like, I didn't think it was gonna get that crazy. Like it just seems like it will continue to do that. The same thing happened with Luton here. Like there's a guy with a Luton jersey the other day, and I was like, where do you even get one of those? Like, you know, I don't even know where you would start. But how is it when you are in, like, what, you're in West London? Did you say? So do you see anything of that kind of Wrexham movement down that way?
I mean, I went for a run a couple of months ago, and running past Hammersmith Station, there's a guy in a Wrexham coat. And the thing is, if he was a Wrexham fan from North Wales in London, probably would know him, you know, just because we do have the London Reds. We do meet up quite a bit, and you just get to know people on the train up, or you know, getting a coach together or something like that. But this fella, I didn't know him. I think he could be Indian. I think he was like sort of. What I'm trying to say is, you know, I do not expect to see people in Hammersmith Stadium. Oh, sorry, outside Hammersmith Station, wearing Wrexham paraphernalia. But then I didn't expect to go to Toronto and out of a crowd of 36,000 have probably around 19,000 wearing some bit of Wrexham apparel. You don't expect that. You don't get that in Vancouver. You don't get that in West London when you've got Chelsea, Fulham, and everyone else around here. But it's such a nice mix of people who are wearing this stuff and want to sort of promote the fact that they're in on this Wrexham thing. And, you know, go back to Vancouver. Not everyone's a super fan. Not everyone will know, you know, ins and outs or watch a full game or anything like that. But the fact is, they've been brought up in it, or caught up in it in even just a little way. And a lot of North Americans don't have a football team. And if Wrexham can be their football team in whatever way it is, that puts this club in a great standing for a very long time. And, you know, it is growing. They've got the World Cup again out there, which is going to kick it on a hell of a lot again. Yeah. And I think, you know, you sort of ask or sort of think about North Americans, their criticisms of the game, right? Their criticisms of the game is it's boring. You don't often get a winner. You know, as they get more educated, I think they sort of find, and I think Ryan and Rob have definitely found this, that like in American sports, when it's sort of basketball, for example, back and two, go, score. You just sort of politely go, oh, good basket. Scoring a goal is fucking hard. And when it happens, there's such an outpouring of emotion that it makes the whole thing worth it. Yeah. And I think that sort of scoring a goal in just that sort of 3 or 4 seconds where it's gone in and you're there or you're watching it and it means so much. There, that's worth all the sort of 90-minute ball draws. Just that sort of that few seconds. It's one of the purest emotions I think you can really feel. And I think North Americans and the rest of the world are starting to understand that a 2-0 win can be quite a emotional event.
That's right. But hey, look, speaking of Wrexham jerseys everywhere, right? Would you wear a Wrexham jersey in Millwall? That's
Millwall?
That's what I want to know. Could you walk down Millwall with a Wrexham jersey on?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we haven't played each other in a while, so Millwall would be sort of Bermondsey way, wouldn't it? There's some spicy places down there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all right. Put it this way: if it's match day, I would think twice. If I'm just walking down the street on a Thursday, I think I'll probably be all right. And I do find that you get a few people like stop you in bars, or like if I go to the cricket or something like that, and we'll want to talk Wrexham because I have some sort of knowledge in it. And it's just even people in work, right? Like people come up to me and say, "Oh, I've been watching the documentary," and I'll be like, "Have you?" I said, A, I didn't know you were a football fan. B, I certainly didn't think you'd be interested in this. And the first question is, what do you think? Because for me, it's a little bit of a different experience because I know the characters involved and I know the outcomes because they're ingrained on my mind. But to them, they like that unknown factor and they don't really know where it's going to go, and they love it. The amount of people who say that they really enjoy the documentary surprises and delights me in equal measure. Like my boss at work watched the whole thing and says he's really enjoyed it. It's like event TV for them, and I'm fucking hell.
Literally, like that's got to be the weirdest thing though, is just that's the light on and I have seen some, some not backlash, but some locals are a bit like, I miss the old days of this, that, the other. And it's just really funny because it's just drowned out by people going, what do you mean? This is incredible. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Would you, if you had asked you that 5 years ago, would you want that? You 100% you'd take that in a heartbeat. And I think, so to have, yourself and the rest of the Fearless lads, like it's just, you guys are also a source of information for us fans who are on the outer, I mean by outside of Wrexham. So for us, it's like, it's crazy that, you guys have embraced it as well. And really, do you get stopped by many like people, Americans or Canadians? Have you kind of been recognized by someone, especially when you went to Toronto?
I did a little bit in Toronto. Go through my agent for this stuff. But I don't deal very well with stuff like that. I don't. Not that I don't enjoy it. Of course, I do. It's just I just feel a little bit uncomfortable because I've done nothing other than chat about something I love for the past couple of years. There's nothing special about that. I would do it anyway. I just happen to do it with a few pals on the podcast. So, but there's a guy I knocked into, I think his name was Pete, who's from Seattle, and I literally knocked into him, and he goes, "Oh, all right, maybe he knocked into me. Maybe hang on, maybe there's a
maybe there's a meet cute."
Yeah, well, but he sort of recognized just from the pod, and I think when we took the pod on YouTube, that has jumped up quite a bit. And we had a good chat for 20 minutes. He brought us around the drinks. He, talked about his mate who was a Woking fan and things like that. And then he came later. And it's just those little interactions are golden because you never thought you would travel 4,000 or 5,000 miles to watch your team play out there and basically chat wall-to-wall Wrexham with people. And I do one thing I do find about that sort of foreign community when they sort of come together, because I went to Philadelphia as well, and I certainly saw this in Philadelphia. There's a lot of people come on their own from different parts of the country and really make an effort to be there and to talk to people. Because I think if I use my mate Wayne Cram as an example, who's a guy I met in Philadelphia, he came over a couple of months ago he was there for the Boreham Wood, so I was really pleased. Not Boreham Wood. He was there for Forest Green, so I'm really pleased he got to see us promoted. But he sort of says, look, I really got into the documentary. I really started watching the games, and I want to talk to my mates about it. But my mates don't give a shit because they're still big Patriots fans or things like that. And what he's talking about, fucking Anthony Ford's left peg or something like that. They go, oh, Wayne, shut the fuck up. No one cares. So what they will do is drive 8 miles. Sorry, 8 miles, 8 hours to come to a gathering like that, where they know that everyone wants to talk about that, and they've got this little community together, and that's what pleased me most about Philadelphia and again in Vancouver. It's just the sort of coming together of people, whatever you do, whatever interests you, whatever other sports teams you sort of follow. It doesn't matter, because they're there to talk about Wrexham, about something that is to them still, it's still theirs, if you know what I mean. It's no one else's. It's their sort of, the way they sort of consume stuff it makes it very sort of singular to them. And good luck to them, because we're delighted to have them. We really are.
Well, we have to go to an ad break. We got some advertisers' responsibilities we got to take care of, and I'm still sitting here wondering if Adrian has promoted Two Beards Wrexham podcast to an underage kid in a time zone somewhere in Australia.
I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, Jared, I was really scared where you're going with that. I was like, what the fuck do you think I do on my weekends? Jesus. But no, it would have been really bad. I've always said, if you're a kid listening to the Two Beards podcast, fuck off. It's 18 plus, all right?
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's go in ad break, because after this we want to dive into everything Fearless in Devotion and really get into that and have a good chat about how you guys came to be and your plans for the future and how you see things at the moment. So, guys, stay tuned. After this, more Andy Gilpin from Fearless in Devotion. Woo! So you probably notice a certain voice popped up on the documentary in this last season. And I got to say, I want to actually deep dive into more about Fearless and Devotion and who you are, Andy, because we've been following you and supporting you from across the pond for quite some time now, and I want to know really, with Fearless and Devotion, how much of your life does it take up? What does it mean to you? You've obviously had some amazing guests on. You have access to Humphrey, which I would love to get on our show sometime, but we'll see if that happens. But you've got access to the players and the club, and I mean, got to say, I'm a little jealous, just a little bit. But I mean, tell me, where did this all start for you, and where did it hit the point where it's like, well, shit, this is just, I'm along for the ride now?
At first, how much does it take of my life? Not much. I'm going to be absolutely honest, because it is not the most slickly put together podcast. That's not its USP. We basically come together with an agenda, and we will record straight off. None of us are good enough to edit or put little flashy bells and whistles on it. I will do a little bit if I can, but that's not what we're really there for. We're there just to chat, and it is quite good that we've got different sort of views on stuff, that we've probably got different sort of contacts. We're really good mates with Nathan and Rich on Rob Ryan Red, who do another superb job as well. And we got sort of come out at different times of the week, so there's always something. There's the other great ones like you and Racecourse Ramble, Red Horde and stuff do live things. Sorry, I missed anyone out, but
no, you did well. You've done pretty well.
Yeah, but it sort of came together that we were thinking when the takeover had happened, like, what we don't want is someone else coming in and making money off it, or doing, sort of seeing an opportunity and becoming the sort of go-to to go to podcast, and so thought, right, okay, we'll do it. And then we came together as a fanzine. We wanted to try an old-fashioned written, printed fanzine again, just to see if there was any sort of zeitgeist we could catch there. And on it, Reese, who was a radio producer who I met off Twitter, and this what happened. This happens all the time. Like, I didn't know Reese, but you just meet him off Twitter, and you sort of think, right, we're all Wrexham fans. We have that shared sort of framework, which means that we can make anything work. But you know what I mean? You go to the lap of the gods a little bit. So yeah, Reese said, what about a podcast? And literally whoever put their hand up did the podcast. So it was me, Liam, Tim, and obviously Reese, who was going to sort of really drive it. And we didn't know what the fuck we were doing the first week. You just sort of chatted shit, and I was nervous. And I had to. I spent. Well, I had to have a few beers before the first few, because you just didn't really have a sort of riff or a shared sort of understanding of where it could go. And we always wanted it to be guests, because it's timeless for us. They can talk about their careers. People can access them at any time. But it does evolve, because getting sort of ex-pro guests are great for one part of the fan base, but a lot of North Americans or people who dip in and out and really are in the week to the week of the club don't really know about Dean Spink or even to a large degree Mickey Thomas. And while you would like to educate them about it, it is quite hard for them to like really go in granularly on some matches that they have never seen, will never really look up on, and don't have any sort of historical sort of significance for them. So it has evolved. It is a lot more now about the current, but that's what people want. They want information. They want to see how other people interpret matches, and is it the same as them? And I think that's where we've taken it at the moment. We've had a few live nights which have been real fun.
I've been wanting to get to one of those. Like, that was one of the was it 2-3 weeks ago you had the almost the season opener one? Like, that looks so much fun. Tell us a bit about that. Who did you have on, and what was it like?
Yeah, well, we try and do a theme. We always try and sort of get a couple of panels on. This one, so before we did promotion, this one was, right, League One, what's it like? Come on, we ain't been there. I've forgotten what it's like. Get a couple of ex-pros who played in the teams to sort of talk us through. So we had, in the first panel, we had Mark McGregor, who was a right back of particular note, really, really decent player. Probably lacked a little bit of pace to go a bit higher, but had everything else. And Robin Gibson, who was a scrappy little winger. He was like brought in as a bit part player, but sort of played quite a key part in some of our better seasons. And they were talking about the 90s. And then we had Lee Jones, who had a couple of spells at Wrexham and played with Barnsley and Liverpool to a certain degree at a higher level. And Lisa, we had Lee and Andy Holt, who was part of the successful Dennis Smith side, and they talked about the noughties. And then after that, it was Humphrey Carr, who, your big ticket arrival, who was talking about how Wrexham were prepared now. When we played.
Literally, he's huge.
Yeah, he is huge. Yeah, and we sort of thought, well, we can ask you the same questions like you always get asked. How did you meet Ryan? Or how, But we decided, we're going to do Humphrey Carr question roulette. So we had 30 questions, some hard, some soft, some stupid, and just Humphrey, pick a number. We'll ask that question. And he did it in his own affable charm, as he ever did. He's shown some particular light on some of the stuff that has been a bugbear or certainly controversial in the last couple of months, because the club don't get everything right, and maybe the fan zone they didn't get right.
Is that coming out as an episode, that live show?
I'm gonna try and edit it in later, so you might get it. You might get it in the next day or two.
Nice.
So we'll do sort of like a little sort of Bolton bookend, but I'm gonna try and get the Humphrey stuff in later.
Oh, nice.
I mean,
nice.
What he says about the Phantom is interesting.
Yeah. I think so. And I think what you just said just before as well, like with us podcasters or content creators for Wrexham, I think for us generally here in Australia, like Wrexham, and I've actually written a little article coming out in in bloggers, music sport WXM.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming out very soon. But I talk about the fact that to get a following for a side in the EFL or Premier League down here is extremely hard because of the times that it happens. So you have to be like an absolute diehard fan to actually, you know,
3 a.m.
circumvent the system to try and find a live stream of the game and all that sort of stuff. But I think with us with regards to Wrexham, we saw there was interest down here, but it wasn't like your USA or Canada or anything like that, where the main demographic was being pushed. And I think it became our mission to say, okay, we want to get Australian people talking about Wrexham, learning about Wrexham, and that was our initial mission. But I think over time it's sort of evolved, and it's become like guys like yourselves, us, Rob Ryan Red, and all them. Like, we're now the voices of the club when there's not a game or the documentary's not on. So people will listen to us to get their fill and feel that connection to the club. And I think it's quite poignant, really, and quite almost touching that, you know, that's the position where we are now all in. Is that we are that voice. We are, you know, people will listen to us and take in what we say to either hear our points of view or just to get their Wrexham fill, you know.
Yeah.
And let's not beat around the bush either. We are the wacky cousins from Australia. Like we're not like the people who are like, we want the first bit of info to come from Two Beards. They're not after that. They just, you know, they want a couple swear words and hearing about Wrexham. But it's great to, like, you know, you guys, you're a source of information for us before even the podcast. Like, it's crazy. And like, do you feel like almost sounds silly, but like a responsibility now? Like, because, you know, even just during the transfer window, I'm like, I got you guys on my notification. So whenever you guys post something, it pops up on my phone because I prefer to get my info from you guys because the club might lag behind.
Yeah. I think it's important that we're all journalists or ex-journalists, so we have an idea of what we can sort of say and how we can say it in a way that we're not barred by the club. But yeah, and I think, you know, we do have contacts because people come to us and sort of say, have you heard about that? And, you know, we're not in a position that we would go to the club and get everything sort of sanded out or anything. But if it's just a throwaway little rumor, I don't think there's much about a player who might be coming in. I don't think there's much harm because that's fan discourse, and that happens everywhere about everything. It's crazy to see how Rob Ryan Red and the Fearless Twitter sort of pages have really come on to, like, having more. Some have more than actually normal clubs. Like, yeah, if you're like Harrogate Town or something like that, they don't probably have as many Twitter followers as those fan accounts. But, you know, that's magnified 10 times with Liverpool, Manchester United, even like the emerging like Man City. You know, there are a lot of those sort of go-to in the know sort of Twitter accounts who want to try and bring the up-to-date news as they can. And then you know, once you do that, you just discuss it on the pod, and you just try and chew the fat, as you know, as you guys would say. It's sort of, it becomes a view on that, and it's the sort of stuff I was like, me and my mate were talking to each other about yesterday at the match, and I was sort of thinking, all right, yeah, that's not a bad point. I'll bring that up in the pod, and it just you sort of feel that not only, you know, not that you're trying to get something off your chest, but it's just you're offering your opinion on something, and a lot of times people don't agree with you, but that's fine. That's football. That's what we're there. And a lot of times say, no, someone might say, oh, I said about George Evans earlier. And that's wrong. George is going to be the key to what we do this season in centre mid. And you're talking out your ass. And fair enough.
Fair enough.
I mean, they're wrong. Yeah, but they're wrong. But you know what I mean? but they're entitled to that, and that's just the growing discourse of football. People like talking about football almost as much, if not more, as watching it. Sometimes watching it can be quite boring, but having that sort of anticipation for what's coming up is a little bit worth a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, and if it gets too boring, you can just kick a Chester fan.
Yeah, and you have to go and find them. That's the
hard thing.
Yeah,
I saw a flag that I don't know if it was you guys who posted it, someone posted it, but it was just, what was it? The flag that just says Pure Entertainment Chester, and it's like you have your second bottom, you know. I don't know if that's quite accurate. So it's just, but it's quite interesting.
If you had a Wrexham fan, if the Wrexham fan was carrying that Pure Entertainment Chester flag, I think it would resonate a little bit more, because they are pure entertainment.
It's like, it's just such but that's something that I was thinking about the other day, was just like, we've never, me, you, Rousey, anyone in the US who have been on this journey for the last 4 years have not experienced the Chester, the Derby, we haven't experienced it, but it's hilarious to see, like, even just Rousey pulling that one out there. We get it a lot with like our fuckheads that we call, like, they will message and be like, but fuck Chester, am I right? Like, you're just like, yeah, but also it's almost like it's transferred. Like, we haven't experienced it. Shrewsbury was probably the closest we've gotten, and we probably will get for a very long time, because I don't see Chester getting anywhere close to us anymore.
No, it's a lot of the Chester baiting's like kicking a puppy at the moment. They're on their arse a little bit. I do feel for them, because it is a club that's had its troubles as well. And I know we always take the piss about Chester had to be reformed, but it had to reform for a reason, that their owners took it down the shitter. And the same happened to us. So there is that shared sort of pain, really. But it is banter. At the end of the day, I work with a lot of Chester fans, and they're absolute weirdos, but at the end of the day, they're the same as you and me, really. And to see them in such a lowly position, on one hand, yes, it is hilarious. But on the other hand, I would like them to actually get their act together, and maybe they can't come join us in League One or the Championship. But I think it is nice to have a strong sort of derby, because I think my sort of, and most Wrexham fans, sort of league of hate. So new entry, maybe Stockport at 7, and mostly because they keep sort of,
they're really pushing it, aren't they?
Yeah.
They really want that rivalry with us, and I think Chester obviously is a bit more of a deep-seated rivalry for Wrexham, and I think that's what comes across a lot. But more so, like, I think at this stage, really the only time we're ever going to face or have a chance of facing Chester again is in the FA Cup.
Yeah,
because they're done and dusted for us. They're never going to be a League One side. it's not going to happen.
Not at this point. But then again, people would have said the same about us, 5-6 years ago. So I guess anything can happen in football. Luton being in the Premier League, again, another thing you wouldn't have said 10 years ago. You wouldn't have thought people like Portsmouth would have fallen as far as down as they have in the past. And so I guess, what is it? You're right. You actually sort of pointingly, yes, it's hilarious, but also you do feel for them, because football clubs at the end of the day is a community, and it is people like you and me and everyone else. So it'll be interesting. But look, okay, this was something that Rousey, when we were talking beforehand off air, we said, he goes, got Andy on. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's exciting. We're going to talk with Andy. And then we made it the joke with who is the, I guess, the instigator? Is it all of you guys, like, same input, same kind of when it comes to the pod, or is there like, are you the Justin Timberlake of this NSYNC model?
Well, no, I'm right. Me and Tim are sort of, and I think the others will sort of back this up. Me and Tim are sort of like at the forefront of it, like sort of organizing stuff, coming up with guest ideas of where we want to go this go with this. And sometimes, and I hope Tim. Well, no, Tim can listen to this. Sometimes I have to temper Tim a little bit in the background. But that's sort of my day job, is to sort of organize stuff and people and what we're going to do and when we're going to do it and how we're going to approach it. So I don't really see that as a lot of work. I just see that as a natural sort of taking my job and putting it onto a podcast. And then Reese is well, until he went missing, he's MIA at the moment, but Reese was the guy who sort of put it together in the background, did the editing, and that was invaluable. Liam's taken over a little bit of that now, and Liam sort of brings the critical eye. As Liam says it himself, all Liam wants to do is show up and talk about Wrexham and take the piss a little bit, and that's absolutely fine with us. But yeah, I think certainly me and Tim are the main sort of thrust of it, and a lot of it is, Tim deals with the Twitter page himself, and I know that's a hell of a lot of work. So sometimes I will try and take the pressure off him by doing bits. Certainly did with the fanzine, and we're trying to start this newsletter as well, which is sort of just an extension of the fanzine. Really, it's just an easier delivery method, because once you have 600 hard copies staring at you, you're going to have to get out and sell the fuckers. And that became difficult, because if it's raining one day and you don't get your big hit, then they're still hanging about, and they're getting older and older.
Is it international, the fanzine?
Yeah. Oh, so well, the fanzine we could send it. It's just the postage is so much, mate. Just send it anything to us or Australia. It's just it's so much. So
because if you make the call that it's international, and all of a sudden you have like all the American fans and then the Australian fans all like bombarding you, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta package this shit up and send it out.
Yeah, fuck. That's the problem. Well, I mean, I've seen when the club, like especially when we went up first time around out of the National League, like people are like keeping the mementos of like the pro day programs and stuff. And you guys did really good, like with you guys did fanzines around that time as well, didn't you? Like around the promotion. So I mean, that's not the Fearless one, but that's one of the match programs.
That's collectible stuff. I mean, people, when you come over all that way, you want to get everything you can. And the good thing is, there's like a little tour of Wrexham built up in people's minds now, that you obviously you're going to go to the turf, obviously you're going to try and get a match, but on top of that, you're going to go and see Liam Stokes-Massey at T-Pow. You're going to go to the Fat Ball for your tea one night. The Lager Club has become part of that sort of journey around. And what the town need to do next as their next evolution is almost formalize that a little bit, have a good like pub crawl where everything's got a little bit different. Robbo's pub, he's trading off that, and why shouldn't he? He's next.
I want to add to that now is obviously the Hill Street Social with their bottomless chip sangers. Sorry. Chip butties, or however that. Do you guys say buddies in Welsh, or is it?
You can see buddies. It's colloquial, but
we just say chip sangers. But I mean, when I saw that bottomless chip sangers, I'm like, oh damn, I got to get onto that. So Hill Street Social, that's where we're going to hit that up.
So when I was there doing that Men in Blazers thing, so everyone put Potter on them except Richie, who is the tall lad with the greyish hair, good guy Richie. And he just had them. He just had it like a bread and crisps. I was like, what is wrong with you? That's so fucking dry, mate.
What are you doing?
You gotta have the
get him a drink. Get the man a drink. Jesus Christ! Like, hydrate, mate.
But I was like, I'm hardly fucking Gordon Ramsay, but I'm thinking, come on, mate, you can put a bit more in on that. But yeah, that's part of the tour, and there'll be more. And if I'm opening a pub now in Wrexham, I would want to trade off the club, and I would want to get some memorabilia there, and I would want to make it part of like a trail that people can follow around. And I know Brian still does tours around Wrexham as well. And I think the next sort of natural sort of progression with that is a proper museum, not just to Wrexham, but to maybe to Welsh football. And if that's going to be part of the COP, if they can take over Wrexham Museum a little bit more, but just that sort of historic thing as well, would add to it, and maybe it might be ready by the time you guys come over.
Oh, I hope so. Hope so.
Fingers
As I
crossed.
was saying, it's going to be crazy if we do go back to back to back. Is by the time then we come over, we'll be coming over to watch Wrexham in the Championship League, which is just nuts. But speaking of Vault 33, we had obviously Neil on the other week, and that was an amazing show.
He's a good talker.
He's been really, really great, and we're actually looking forward to doing a live show at Vault 33. So
great, yeah.
Maybe we can get you fearless boys involved in that. Put you on the spot.
No.
We love it. But I think the biggest thing is I want to have a pint with you guys. I've been like watching you guys for so long, and like feel like, you know, when it's like a one-sided friendship, Andy. Like I feel like I know you guys so well, and then you're just like, who the fuck's this bald ginger? Like, you know, rocking up in the pub.
But a lot of people say that. So
yeah, I mean, even Rousey says that, to be honest. So.
So have you guys met in person?
No, we will be in about 2 weeks' time.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So
where did you say you're Perth and Adelaide?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So I was going to say that's a good few hours. That is a lot more than
more than a few hours. Yeah. It's a 5.5 hours on the plane.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a long time.
Well, I mean, I'm originally from Melbourne, and so I have family in Perth, ironically. But when I would go to Perth, it was like a 5-hour flight, dependent which way the tailwind was going. And then you'll go back in time and forward in time. And Adelaide's one of those weird city-states, South Australia, that has the half-hour time slots. So So what are we at? 9. So it's 9:20 here, whereas it's normal wherever you guys are.
It's almost 8 o'clock here.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, that warps my fragile little mind, because I've just about made it work in North America. But if you had a half in that, I'm out, mate. I'm out.
Well, okay. How about this one then, Andy? Bloody, there's a town in just towards this border with South Australia. It's 45-minute difference into WA.
Wow.
45 minutes.
It's so dumb.
I don't know if I'm shitting or shaving already.
At that point, you just kind of like, what's the point? Just put it on the same fucking time.
It's just the weirdest thing. And like people, when I'm like, I'll put everything in the eastern states. So I'm originally from Melbourne, so I'll just whenever I'm posting about something, and I'm referring to anything, I'll just post it in the eastern states, because I can't be fucked putting in the half an hour and then just thinking that someone's going to miss it or be early for something because I fucked it up.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Well, I think it, it's been a great show. We got a good round coming up against Reading. I want to get your take real quick before we end this on what you think is going to happen, because I think the way this season has started compared to last season, there's some differences, but yet you can see the boys are still getting acclimatized to the league, just like they did in League Two. And then they got acclimatized and they went on a run. Do we think that's going to happen now? I mean, it's looking very much likely, but we've got a better start than we had last year. So, I mean, we could be really on it.
I think so, but I think there's always a fixture that's going to bite you in the arse. And last season it happened really early. And this time it could happen at any point. And it wouldn't surprise me if Reading can come there and get a good result. I think, League One, anyone can beat anyone. I think every team is pretty competitive, apart from maybe Burton. Well, I was going to say Crawley, but they've had a great start. So,
I was going to say, 2. What have I got, 2 and 2?
But all the teams that have gone up from League Two are
started well,
blistering it at the moment. It's insane.
Yeah, Stockport on top, Crawley in 3rd, Mansfield in 6th, Wrexham in 8th. What is this?
It's like League Two again, isn't it? Yeah.
Crazy. Well, okay. Well, we always do like a little match prediction, and
Yeah.
I'd love to get you in on this one. Now, I predicted a 1-1 draw against Bolton, so 0-0. I was close,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna go with a nice little win for us here. I'm just thinking it's not going to be as goal heavy as we've just seen. It's a bit harder to get goals when you don't have someone like a Paul Mullen up the front at the moment, or a firing Marriott. So I'm going with 1-0 to Wrexham. What about you, Andy?
I think you're right that it will be a mostly, it will be good. If we're going to win this, it's a good defensive display that's going to do it, and a goal from maybe a set play or something like that. A lot of it depends on if we bring in a striker in before Saturday. I think that we might. I think Marriott's a very willing runner, but I think a lot of the attacking play against Bolton, it was limited a little bit by the fact that Palmer plays a very important role in that team. He sort of ties up a centre half. He wears them down for when for when Fletcher does come on. There's a little bit more space there, but he isn't the most mobile. He's getting on a little bit, and in League One, you do need that sort of constant movement, which I think we sort of suffered a little bit yesterday, and that and a lack of pace meant that Bolton could squeeze and come and sort of really step up a little bit their back line, and I think they knew that we weren't really going to hurt them with pace, and if it was going to be anyone, it would be just one person in Marriott, and so it's easier to cover that if you've just got one threat rather than quite a few. So I think if we don't bring in a striker, I think it will be a draw. I think it will be a one each, or even 0-0 again. I think it just be hard fought. If we do bring in a striker, I can see us nicking it, maybe 1-0 or 2-1. So let's say we do bring in a striker, because I think he is working behind the scenes. There are names being bandied about, Bradshaw being back on the radar a little bit if Millwall can do some business. So I think if that does happen, then I'm going to go 2-1.
Nice. Love it.
Good score. The old safe score that I like to say. I before the weekend, I was going to say 3-2, but then obviously Okonkwo looks like he's hitting straps at the right time now, and I mean he looked amazing against Bolton. So I think I'm gonna break the trend. I'm gonna go for another high scoring match, and I think it'll be a statement. I reckon 3-1 to Wrexham.
All right. Hey, mate, if we get a striker in, and that debut hat trick would be real nice.
Yeah, you'll take that. It's so important. You know what? It's so important for a striker to start well, because, Marriott would stop and start and hasn't really got going. Brilliant inside of the foot volley apart. But Gary Bennett, when he came, no one wanted him, right? He was a free transfer from Chester. You look at his goal return and went, well, why are you signing this idiot? And he started well, and all of a sudden he got on a roll. He just exuded confidence, and we got the striker we got from it. So someone coming in and starting well is incredibly important. It's vitally important up front, and it's vitally important in goal. The rest you can maybe start badly and recover from, but those two positions, if the fans mark your card on them, it's hard to ever sort of drag it back in, especially in those positions. So if we do bring someone in and they score in their debut, like Ollie Palmer did, like Paul Mullin did, then you don't really look back a little bit. So come in, get a hat trick. We got a 50 goal season striker.
That's what we want.
Well, Andy, do you want to give your podcast a plug, and your fanzine a plug for anyone out there that's listening that might not be aware of you or aware of the fanzine?
Yeah, so it's Fearless in Devotion. It comes out on YouTube and Spotify every sort of Sunday night, really. It's going to be Monday because of the Sunday Bolton game just this time round. We also do a Wrexham is the Game newsletter, which goes into your inboxes every Wednesday, and it's just a combination of sort of views, sort of analysis, the sort of stuff you can't really say in the podcast, but because it's behind a paywall, and I'm sorry, it is behind a paywall, you do have to pay for it, but it's about 80 pence a week for about 2,500-3,000 words. So I'm hoping you get your money's worth. it sort of, yeah, that it gives us like a slightly different take on stuff, and we get fans of the week in, we get a good sort of cross section of interesting tidbit stuff. So yeah, please subscribe if you'd like to. And lads, thank you so much for this. I really enjoyed it. It's nice to talk to you guys. It's nice just to see our club represented worldwide, and you guys are a big part of that.
Thank you, mate. Honestly, it's been an absolute honor to have you on. And, it's like I said, I feel like we've known you for a long time, but it's great to finally get to meet virtually, and hopefully we'll get to meet when we get to Wrexham.
No, definitely. I'm definitely up for that. It's good to, when fans come over and you can really sort of set an agenda around it. And yeah, I'd definitely be up for that, guys. We'll share a Foster's.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, not a Foster's. Fuck that. No.
You know what? I still don't. I don't
pissed.
think they sell Fosters in Australia anymore.
Nah.
Right, okay.
No way.
It's crazy.
They always say that's an Aussie beer. It's not. That's not an Aussie. An Aussie beer is a VB or a
VB. Fuck that.
A bush chook. Got to have the
Victoria
old bush
bitter.
chook. Swan Draft as well. That's your Aussie, your true Aussie beers, not Foster's. That shit's fucking.
Yeah, I honestly don't turn on the TV, because if you see one of their stereotypical cliched ads, you'll probably put your foot through it.
Oh, now got to look it up.
I want to know.
Someone's getting numpty for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Andy, thank you so much for appearing on our podcast. We will be listening intently to your episodes as they come out. And guys, go give them a subscribe, share the shit out of their episodes, get around it, because these guys really do bring a lot of good, valuable information every single week. So by all means, get on there and give them a follow. But after the break, we will wrap things up for the week, and we will get ready for the Reading game. Let's go. See you guys after the break. Woo! Well, that was Andy from Fearless in Devotion. What an amazing guest. That's 2 weeks in a row we've had a guest on. And wow. It's something's happening down below, I'll tell you what.
Nah, mate, it was honestly.
I meant down under, not down. Fuck
Oh,
it.
yeah. Well, that's all right. We knew what you meant. You meant your dick. But the best part is, we had Tim on. He was just a genuinely nice guy, someone that I've followed for a while. Same with Andy. So when we got Andy on, it's just, it's just great to meet these people, because you feel like you've known them for a while, just because you've read their content, you've listened to their content, you heard them. So for us to have him on, it was just so cool. And I think the most touching thing about that entire thing was it was a lot of fun, a bit of banter. He could swear, we could swear, we had a bit more fun. But when he said, we're very much a part of this, that meant a lot, because when the best part about Wrexham podcasts is no one's competing with each other. No one is like, oh, I want to be here and I want them to be there. I want them to be. Everyone just helps each other out. We've got it with Me, the Wife, and Wrexham, Racecourse, obviously Fearless, we're Local Pundit, Red Horde, all of these people, man. We're very lucky to have the little network. But for the big dogs, Fearless in Devotion, the big dogs say that we're a part of this. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, we are very much a part of it. And I think, it's like you said, it's, it's now a responsibility for us to deliver that information week in, week out, to give people their Wrexham feel, no matter where in the world they're from, whether you're from, well, geez, where we got listeners from the US, Canada, even in some bespoke European countries, India, Malaysia.
Was that Bermuda? One of our fuckheads, are they from Bermuda?
Yeah, Bermuda. So it's all over the world. So it's mental. But
Crazy.
hey, it's just onwards and upwards. It seemed like just yesterday we were at 200 subs, and now we're on our way to 4,000. So that's just mental. So I think, for us, the content, online content creators for Wrexham, no matter who they are, they have a very important role to play. And they essentially do become the voice of the club between between games and between documentary seasons and all that. So, it's an interesting predicament we now find ourselves in. A long way from getting 10 views an episode, hey?
We're not in Kansas anymore, Rousey. Not in Kansas anymore.
Not in Kansas anymore at all. We are in a red light district in Amsterdam.
Jesus H. Dick. But you know what? I think the best part is, we are a different pod in the sense that we take the piss. We are over 18 only, blah, blah, blah. But when I hear like I said, the big dogs like Fearless and Devotion, Rob, Ryan, Red, even just acknowledge our existence is huge. But for them to be very nice and nice about our content and also join in with it, like when Andy said before we started recording, he's like, it'll be good to have a bit of a swear and no holds bar, and I really think he embraced that. So I really appreciate it, Andy. And let's try and do the quadruple, get them all on, get all the Fearless boys on.
Oh geez, like proper full on Two Beards Fearless crossover. That could be interesting.
Well, I'm more thinking like finish our Infinity Stones on our podcast gauntlet. We've already got Tim and we've got Andy, and then we'll get Reese and we'll get.
Well, I mean, hey, if you do want to see, let us know. Let us know in the comment section. Last week, the comment section went absolutely bonkers. It was great to see.
Crazy.
So by all means, reach out to us again and let us know who you are, where you're from, what you like, all that sort of stuff. Whatever.
And if you want to talk about Elliot Lee's Down Under, then Rouse is your guy. He loves it. He loves it. Froths it. DM him. Send him the DMs.
Yep.
Get amongst it.
About that. Well, guys, links will be in the description down below if you want to join our Patreon program or if you want access to our merch store. You will see it all on down below in the description. But other than that, that's us for a week, and we'll come back next week, hopefully just as beaming because we've given it to Reading. So let's do that. Hey, so guys, if you like this episode, subscribe and share the shit out of it. Tick that bell notification so you get notification whenever we post, and helps us out a lot, even just that. So, and a big thank you as well to, we had a super thanks last week.
Oh, we did.
We did. I've got to give this guy a special shout out because he gave us a super thanks.
I didn't even know what that even was until I saw it, and I was like, oh, someone gave us money? That's really sweet.
Yeah, I know, right? And like it is an option on there to give super thanks, and
we'll shout you out if you do it. So we want to make sure we get. I'm looking at it right here.
Nick Donnellan.
Hey, you beat me to it, motherfucker.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that super thanks. It was much appreciated, and we love you all the more for it. So guys, we'll see you guys next week on the Two Beards Wrexham podcast. Up the town. Let's fucking go. Woo-woo.